हेलो गाइज, कैसे हो। उम्मीद है आप सभी लोग अच्छे होंगे, स्वस्थ होंगे। पढ़ाई चल रही होगी, आप लोग बढ़िया से आई तैयारी चल रही होगी या जिस चीज़ की तैयारी कर रहे हो आप, स्टेट सिविल सर्विसेज की, एसएससी या और कुछ। उम्मीद करता हूँ तैयारी अच्छी चल रही होगी, उसी में हमारा भी कुछ योगदान होगा इसमें। आज हम लेके आए हैं इंडियन इकोनॉमी पार्ट 1, 15 मल्टी चॉइस क्वेश्चंस, जो टफ और ट्रिकी भी है। और ये सब सिविल सर्विसेज, स्टेट सिविल सर्विसेज, एसएससी, अदर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशन के लिए है। उम्मीद है आपको अच्छे लगेंगे इसका कंटेंट। तो आगे बढ़ते हैं। 50 एमसीक्यूज इंडियन इकोनॉमी पार्ट 1। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, विथ रेफरेंस टू इंडियाज फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स। फर्स्ट, करेंसी foreign currency assets FCA constitute the largest component of India's forex reserves. Second one, gold reserves witnessed the highest absolute increase among all the components in the latest data. Third, a decline in IMF reserve position necessarily indicates worsening balance of payments conditions. Fourth, special drawing rights SDRs are allocated by IMF to enhance global liquidity. Which option is correct? Suggest which option is correct. Option B is correct. Option B is correct. Here is the explanation. Correct answer is B. Statement 1 correct. FCA is the largest component, US dollar $570.41 billion. And second correct, gold increased by US dollar $6.181 billion and the highest rise. Third one is incorrect. Managed changes in IMF reserve position do not automatically imply BOP status. Fourth statement is correct. SDRs are IMF allocated reserve assets. Second question is, which of the following functions can be directly performed by using foreign exchange reserves held by the RBI? First one is intervention in currency markets to manage rupee volatility, meeting external debt repayment obligations, financing long-term infrastructure projects within India, cushioning sudden capital outflows during global financial stress. Which option is true? Correct. Option B is correct. 1, 2 and 4. Here is the explanation. Correct. 1 correct. RBI uses reserves to slap the rupee. Correct. 2. Second option is correct. Forex reserves provide liquidity for external payments. Option 4 is correct. Reserves act as a shock absorber against capital flight. Next question is, consider the following statements regarding the composition and management of India's forex reserves. First statement is, an increase in gold reserves helps diversify reserve risk away from the US dollar. SDRs form a physical component of forex reserves similar to gold. Foreign currency assets includes deposits and securities denominated in major global currencies. Fourth statement, excessive accumulation of forex reserves can involve opportunity cost. Which statement is correct? Option A is correct. Correct answer is A. Statement 1 correct. Gold acts as a hedge against dollar volatility. Option 3 correct. FCA includes foreign securities and deposits. Option 4 low returns on large reserves create cost. It is correct. Incorrect is SDRs are not physical assets. India's current level of foreign exchange reserves contributes to which of the following macroeconomic outcomes? First statement is ability to finance more than 10 months of imports. Enhancement of sovereign. Second one, enhancement of sovereign credit perception among global investors. Third, automatic improvements in export competitiveness. Fourth, increased resilience against external sector shocks. Which option is correct? B. 1, 2 and 4 options are correct. Option 1, import cover exceeds 10 months. Correct. Option B, high reserves boost investor confidence. Third, incorrect RBI intervention may sometimes hurt export competitiveness. Fourth option is correct. Reserve provides a buffer against shocks. Fifth question: which of the following statements best explain why very high forex reserves may pose policy challenges? First option is sustained RBI intervention can influence the real effective exchange rate. Second one, holding reserves in low yield assets can involve economic costs. Third, rising gold reserves always generate higher returns than FCA. Fourth, excess reserves require active diversification strategy. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. 1, 2 and 4. Statement 1 correct because intervention affects currency valuation. Correct. Statement second correct, opportunity cost of low return assets exist. Statement 3 is incorrect because gold is a hedge, not a guaranteed higher return assets. Fourth statement is correct. Diversification is essential for reserve management. Next question. With reference to RBI concerns regarding state finances, consider the following statements. First, rising yields on state development loans (SDLs) increase the interest burden of states. Second, faster than planned market borrowing by states reflects improved fiscal health. Third, pre-election populist spending can crowd out capital expenditure. Which statement is correct? Are correct? Option B is correct. 1 and 3 statements are correct. Explanations are here. Statement 1 correct because higher SDL yields raise borrowing cost and debt burden. Statement second is incorrect. Faster borrowing signals fiscal stress, not strength. Statement 3 correct because populist spending diverts funds from long-term investments. Now next question. State development loans differ from central government securities in which of the following aspects? First, SDLs are issued exclusively for capital expenditure purposes. Option B, SDLs are auctioned by the RBI but carry state level credit risk. Option C, SDLs are not counted as part of the public debt. Fourth, option D, SDLs are interest free instruments backed by the RBI. Correct answer is B. Option B is correct because SDLs are auctioned by RBI but repayment liability lies with the states, hence higher yields. Option A is incorrect because SDLs fund both development and fiscal deficit. C is incorrect, SDLs add to public debt. D is also incorrect, SDLs are interest free bearing instruments. Next question is RBI warning against pre-election populist spending is primarily based on which of the following macroeconomic concerns? Option A, it leads to higher short-term inflation due to excess consumption. Option B, it undermines long-term growth by reducing productive capital formation. Option C, it violates constitutional provisions related to state finances. Option D is automatically breaches the external debt sustainability framework. Which option is correct? Option B is correct. Option B is correct because RBI highlights that short-term welfare spending crowds out infrastructure and growth-enhancing expenditure. Inflation is not the core concern mentioned. Not constitutional violation is cited. External debt is not directly involved here. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding fiscal discipline of Indian states. First statement, states account for a majority share of public sector capital expenditure in India. Second, fiscal responsibility and budget management (FRBM) targets aim to ensure intergenerational equity. Third, off-budget borrowings, if transparently reported, it do not pose any fiscal risk. Which statement is correct? Are correct? Option B is correct. 1 and 2. Statement 1 is correct because states contribute nearly 60% of public capital expenditure. Statement 2 is correct because FRBM promotes sustainability and intergeneration fairness. Statement 3 is incorrect because even disclosure of budget borrowings can raise debt risks. Next question, which one of the following best explains why rising state fiscal deficits can affect the broader economy? Option A, states independently determine monetary policy outcomes. Option B, state deficits influence market interest rates and investor confidence. Option C, state borrowing is excluded from national fiscal calculations. Option D is state deficit directly determine India's current account balance. Which statement is correct? Option B is correct. State deficits influence market interest rates and investor confidence. Option B is correct because higher state borrowing raises yields, affects interest rates and weakness investor confidence. Monetary policy is RBI domains. State deficits are part of general government finances. CAD is linked to external trade, not state budgets. Next question. With reference to extreme poverty in the context of Kerala's program, consider the following statements. First statement is the World Bank defines extreme poverty using a consumption threshold adjusted for purchasing power parity, that is PPP. Second statement is 2025 revision of the extreme poverty line reflects changes in global inflation and consumption patterns. Third, Household Consumption Expenditure Survey SCES data are used to ensure comparability of poverty estimates across countries. Fourth statement is the revised $3 per day poverty thresholds applies uniformly to all income groups of countries. Which statements are correct? B option B is correct. 1, 2 and 3 only. Correct answer is B. Answer 1 is extreme poverty is measured using PPP adjusted consumption. Statement 2 is correct because revision accounts for inflation and consumption changes. Option 3 is correct. SCEC ensures cross-regional comparability. Fourth option is statement is incorrect because thresholds differ by country income classification. Next question is, which of the following features distinguish Kerala's extreme poverty eradication program from conventional welfare schemes? First statement is door-to-door beneficiary identification validated by community institutions. So statement 2, use of geotagging and household level macro planning. Option 3, exclusive reliance on cash transfers to raise consumption levels. Fourth statement is integration of multiple sectoral schemes under a single local action plan. Which statements are correct? Option B is correct. 1, 2 and 4th. Correct answer is B. First statement is correct because community-based surveys ensure accurate targeting. Second statement is correct because geo-tagging enabled household-specific interventions. Option 3 is incorrect because program focused on multi-dimensional support, not cash alone. Statement 4 is correct because welfare convergence was central to the strategy. Next question is, consider the following statements regarding the role of decentralization in Kerala's poverty eradication strategy. First statement is, local governments were empowered with fiscal autonomy under the People's Plan campaign. Second statement is, decision-making authority for beneficiary selection rested solely with the state government. Third statement is, Nava Kerala mission facilitated coordination between state objectives and local execution. Fourth option is, community participation reduced information asymmetry and exclusion errors. Which statements are correct? B option is correct. 1, 3 and 4 statements are correct. Option 1 correct because fiscal and administrative decentralization was key. Option B is second incorrect because local bodies played a decisive role. Option 3 is correct because Nava Kerala mission ensured policy implementation alignment. Statement 4 is correct because community validation improved targeting accuracy. Next question, which of the following outcomes of Kerala program reflect a multi-dimensional understanding of poverty? Option 1 provision of land ownership to landless families. Second one, expansion of primarily healthcare access through mission mode delivery. Option 3 is universalization of biometric identity documentation. Option 4 is achievement of uniform income levels across households. Which statements are correct here? Option Option A is correct. 1, 2 and 3 only. First statement is correct because asset ownership addresses structural poverty. Second one is correct. Health access is a key non-income dimension. Statement 3 is correct. Identity access enables inclusion in welfare systems. Fourth is incorrect because income equality was not the objective. Next question is Kerala's extreme poverty eradication program offers lessons from other Indian states in the which of the following ways? First statement is poverty reduction requires convergence of welfare schemes rather than scheme proliferation. Second statement is digital governance tools can enhance accountability and real-time monitoring. Option 3 is political consensus is essential for sustaining long-term social policy goals. Option 4 is poverty eradication is achievable only in states with high per capita income. Which statements are correct? Option B is correct, where first, second, and third statements are correct. First statements integration improves efficiency and impact. Second was correct, GIC dashboards enabled monitoring and transparency. Option 3 is correct, cross party support ensured continuity. Fourth is incorrect, model is replicable beyond high income states. Next question, with reference to central bank digital currencies, CBDC, consider the following statements. First one, CBDCs constitute legal tender backed by sovereign authority of a country. Second one, CBDC can potentially reduce cross-border remittance cost compared to traditional payment systems. Third one is CBDC necessarily eliminate the need for KYC and ML compliance due to their programmability. Which statements are correct? Option B is correct. First and second statements are correct. Statement 1 correct because CBDCs are sovereign digital fiat money. Statement 2 is correct because BIS 2025 notes up to 50% cost reduction. Statement 3 is incorrect because CBDC strengthen KYC ML compliance, not remove it. Next question is, why does the RBI view widespread use of US dollar stable coins as a potential risk for India? First option is stable coins increase volatility in domestic bond markets. Option B is stable coins could weaken monetary sovereignty by promoting currency substitution. Option C is stable coins directly increase fiscal deficits through capital outflows. Fourth, D option, stable coins prevent central banks from issuing digital currencies. Which option is correct? Option B is correct. Option B is correct because RBI warns of rupee dollarization where foreign dominated private money undermines domestic monetary control. A, C, D option not highlighted as primary concern in the context. Which of the following correctly differentiates CBDC from stable coins? First option is CBDC are always blockchain based whereas stable coins are not. Option B is stable coins are backed by sovereign guarantees while CBDC are privately issued. C option CBDCs operate within regulatory frameworks unlike most stable coins. Option D is stable coins issued only by commercial banks while CBDCs are issued by governments. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. CBDCs operate within regulatory framework and unlike most stable coins. Option C is correct because CBDCs ensure regulatory transparency and compliance. Stable coins often operate in lightly regulated environments. CBDC may or may not use blockchain. Reverse logic, stable coins are issued by private entities, not banks necessarily. Next MCQ is which of the following is the primary constant in replacing stable coins with CBDC at the global level? Option A is lack of demand for digital currencies among users. Option B is absence of interoperability and limited pilot stage adoption. Option C, high transaction cost of CBDCs compared to stable coins. Option D is incompatibility of CBDC with existing banking system. Which option is correct? Option B is correct. Absence of interoperability and limited pilot stage adoption. Option B is correct because only 19 central banks have pilot CBDCs and lack standardized interoperability. Next question is India's participation in initiatives like BIS, mBridge and IMF's XC platform would primarily help in replacing first option replacing commercial banks with central bank payment systems. Option B is enabling cross-border CBDC settlements with interoperability. Option C is eliminating cyber security risk in digital payments. Option D is ensuring universal adoption of CBDC within domestic retail markets. Which option is correct? Option B is correct. Enabling cross-border CBDC settlements with interoperability. Option B is correct because these platforms aim at real-time, low-cost, interoperable cross-border CBDC payments. Next question, with reference to India's defense manufacturing targets and recent trends, consider the following statements. First statement is India aims to achieve rupees 3 lakh crore in defense manufacturing and rupees 50,000 crore in defense exports by 2029. Second statement is defense production in India has increased more than 3 times since 2014. Option 3 is the Defense Production Export Promotion Policy DPEPP 2020 target for 2025 has already been exceeded. Option 4 is a majority of defense contracts in financial year 2024-25 were awarded to foreign companies to ensure technology transfer. Which of the statements are given below above are correct? Which statements are correct? Option B is correct. 1, 2 and 3 statements are correct. First statements correct. Explicit 2029 target mentioned. Sorry. Second statement is correct. Production rose from 46,000 crore rupees to 2014 to 1.5 lakh crore rupees in financial year 25. Option 3 is correct. DPEPP 2025 targets are expected to be surpassed. Next one is which of the following measures directly support the participation of MSMEs and startups in India's defense sectors? First one is reservation of a fixed share of annual defense procurement for MSME. Second one is issuance of positive indigenization list PILs. Third one, innovations for defense excellence IDEX program. Fourth, liberalization of FDI up to 74% under the automatic route. Select the correct answer using the code below. Which statements are correct? Option B is correct. 1, 2 and 3rd. First, second and third of statements are correct. Option 1 is correct because 25% procurement reserved for MSME. Second is correct. PILs ensures domestic procurement opportunities. Option 3 is also correct. IDEX supports innovators and startups. Next question is, consider the following statements regarding government initiatives for defense indigenization. First is, positive indigenization list aim to prohibit imports of specified defense items. Second one, the Tejas light combat aircraft has achieved complete indigenization of all its components. Option 3 is, liberalized FDI norms in defense manufacturing are intended to promote global collaboration and technology transfer. Option 4 is, fourth is, defense corridors are linked with skill development under the Skill India initiatives. Which statements are correct? Option B is correct. 1, 3 and 4 statements are correct. First option is correct because PILs ban imports of listed items. Option 3 is correct. FDI liberalization encourages collaboration. Correct. Fourth option is correct. Defense corridors integrate skill developments. Second option is incorrect because Tejas has over 64%, not 100% indigenization. The next question, India's defense export growth reflects which of the following structural changes. First is shift from import dependence to domestic manufacturing. Second, increased role of private sector and startups in defense production. Third, focus on export financing and logistic support for MSE. Fourth, mandatory export obligations imposed on all foreign defense firms operating in India. The select correct answer is option B is correct. First, second and third only are correct. First statement is correct. Self-reliance drives export capacity. Second statement is also correct. Startups and private players contribute significantly. Option 3 is also correct. Export ecosystem stagnating is highlighted as by forward. Fourth is incorrect because no such mandatory export obligation exists. Next question is, which of the following statements best reflect the strategic significance of India's defense manufacturing push? First statement is, it enhances India's strategic autonomy and reduces vulnerability to external supply shocks. Second option is, it aligns with the objectives of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India. Third statement is, it enables India to emerge as a net exporter of defense equipment in the long term. Fourth statement is, it replaces the need for international defense cooperation entirely. Which statements are correct? Option B is correct. First, second and third statements are correct. First statements are correct because strategic autonomy is a core objective. Second one is correct because closely linked with Atmanirbhar Bharat. Option 3 is correct because export target of 50,000 crore reflects this ambition. Fourth is incorrect because global partnership and JV joint ventures remain important. Next question is with reference to the National Pulses Mission 2025-31. Consider the following statements. First is, it is a centrally sponsored scheme implemented jointly by the center and states. Second statement is, it aims to make India self-sufficient in pulse production by 2030-31. Statement 3 is, the mission period coincides with the 15th Finance Commission cycle. Fourth, it is implemented under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Which statements are correct? Option D is correct. Second and fourth statements are correct. First statement is incorrect because the mission is a central program, not a centrally sponsored scheme. Second is correct because target is 350 lakh tons by 2030-31 to achieve self-sufficiency. Statement 3 is incorrect because the 15th Finance Commission covers up to 2025-26. Statement 4 is correct because implemented under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Next question is, which one of the following is a primary rationale behind assured 100% MSP procurement of Tur, Urad and Masoor under the mission? First option is to eliminate private trade impulses. Second, to stabilize consumer prices in urban markets. Option C is to provide income certainty and incentivize pulse cultivation. Option D is to comply with the India WTO agreement on agriculture. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. To provide income certainty and incentivize pulse cultivation. Option C is correct because assured MSP, maximum support price procurement, reduces market risk and encourages farmers to expand pulse cultivation. Option A, B, C are incorrect because private trade is not eliminated, consumer price stabilization is indirect, not the primary aim, WTO obligations are not the driver here. Next question is, the use of Sathi, seed traceability, authentication and holistic inventory portal under the National Pulses Mission is intended to achieve which of the following objectives? Option A is monitoring international pulse trade and import tariffs. Option B is transparent distribution and tracking of certified seeds. Option C is real-time forecasting of pulse prices in mandis. Option D is direct benefit transfer of OSP payments to farmers. Which option is true correct? Option B is correct. Transparent distribution tracking of certified seeds. Option B is correct because the Sathi portal ensures transparency and monitoring in seed distribution, including certified seeds and free seed kits. Options A, C, D are not correct because these functions are not associated with Sathi. Next question is, which of the following outcomes is mostly directly expected from stabilizing post-harvest processing units under the mission? Option A is reduction in minimum support price requirements, improvements in pulse export competitiveness, reduction in post-harvest losses, and enhancement of value addition. Option D is replacement of traditional pulse consumption patterns. Which option is correct? C is correct. Reduction in post-harvest losses and enhancement of value addition. Option C is correct because post-harvest infrastructure reduces wastage and improves value utilization. MSP is related to processing units. Export competitiveness is secondary, not the primary focus. Consumption patterns are not targeted. Option A, B, D are incorrect. Next question is, which one of the following best explains how the National Pulses Mission contributes to the macroeconomic stability? Option A, by increasing agriculture subsidies permanently. B, by reducing dependence on food grain procurement. Option C, by lowering foreign exchange outgo through reduced pulse imports. Option D is by shifting labor from agriculture to industry. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. By lowering foreign exchange outgo through reduced pulse imports. Option is correct because reducing pulse imports by 15-20% saves foreign exchange, supporting macroeconomic stability. Option A of subsidy exchange is not the stated objectives. A, B and D option are incorrect. B, pulses do not replace food grain procurement. Option D is structural labor shift is not addressed by the mission. Next question is with reference to PM Setu, Pradhan Mantri Skilling and Employability Transformation through Upgraded ITI scheme. Consider following statements. 1. PM Setu is a centrally sponsored scheme aimed at upgrading government ITI. Second is the scheme seeks to transform exactly 500 ITI across India. Third, the total financial outlay of the scheme is rupees 60,000 crore. Fourth, the scheme focuses exclusively on short-term skilling programs. Which of statements are correct? Option A is correct. First and third statements are correct. Statement first is correct because PM Setu is a centrally sponsored program. Statement 2 is incorrect. It targets 1000 ITIs, not 500. Statement 3 is correct because total investment is rupees 60,000 crore. Statement 4 is incorrect because it includes short-term, executive and long-term diploma courses. Next question, the hub and spoke model under PM Setu is intended to achieve which of the following objectives? First, concentration of advanced infrastructure in select ITIs. Second, extension of training outreach to rural and remote areas. Option 3 is centralization of all ITI governments under the union government. Fourth, efficient sharing of resources and expertise among ITIs. Select the correct answer using the code below. Which statements are correct? And the option is correct. B. 1, 2 and 4 statements are correct. Statement 1 is first is correct because hub ITIs act as anchor institutions with advanced facilities. Second is correct because spoke ITIs expand reach to undeserved areas. Third one is incorrect because governments remains decentralized with industry participation. Fourth is correct because resource and expertise sharing is a core rationale. Next question is consider the following statements regarding industry participation in the PM Setu scheme. First statement is special purpose vehicles SPV will manage ITI clusters. Second, anchor industry partners ensure demand driven and outcome based training. Third, industry public participation is limited only to curriculum design. Option 4 is public-private partnership. PPP is a central feature of the scheme. Which of the following statements are correct? Option B is correct, where first, second, and fourth statements are correct. First statement is correct because SP special purpose vehicles manage clusters. Second one is also correct because industry ensures employability alignment. Third is incorrect because industry role extend to government training and placements. Fourth is correct because PPP is a defining features. Next question is which of the following features of PM Setu directly align it with the Industry 4.0 requirement? First, introduction of courses in AI, robotics and electric mobility. Second one is upgradation of National Skill Training Institutes NSTI as centers of excellence. Third, replacement of vocational training with purely academic education. Fourth is focus on innovation labs, incubation centers and production units. Which are the correct answers? Statements are correct. B. B is correct. First, second and fourth are correct. First is correct because new age technology are central to Industry 4.0. Second was correct because NSTI is upgraded as global standard COE. Third is incorrect because vocational training is strengthened, not replaced. Fourth is correct because innovation and incubation support future industries. Next question is PM Setu, Pradhan Mantri Skilling and Employability Transformation through upgraded RTI, contributes to India's long-term development goals in which of the following ways? First is leveraging India's demographic dividend through employability enhancement. Second, supporting Atmanirbhar Bharat and Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. Third one, creating a globally competitive vocational education ecosystem. Fourth is eliminating the need for higher education institution in skill development. Which are the statements given above correct? B. B is correct. 1, 2 and third statements are correct. Correct. First is correct because focus on youth employability. Second is correct because aligns with national and development visions. Third is correct because global partnership from COE strengthen competitiveness. Fourth is incorrect because higher education complements, not replaced. Next question is with reference to the PM Dhanya Krishi Yojana, PMDDKY consider the following statements. First one is it is a centrally sponsored scheme implemented jointly by the center and states. It seeks to transform low performing agriculture district through convergence of schemes. Third one is the scheme is implemented by the Ministry of Rural Development. Fourth is it aligns with the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Which statements are correct? B. Second and fourth are only correct. Statement 1 is incorrect because PMDDKY is an umbrella central initiative, not explicitly a centrally sponsored scheme. Second statement is correct because core objective is transforming low performing agricultural districts through convergence. Statement 3 is incorrect because implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare MOAFW. Statement 4 is correct because explicitly aligned with Viksit Bharat date of 2047. Next question is the identification of aspirational agriculture district under PMDDKY is most similar to the which of the following existing governance approaches. First is minimum support price regime. Second was National Food Security Targeting Framework. Third, Niti Aayog aspirational district programs. D. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana enrollment system. Which statement is correct? Option C is correct. Niti Aayog's aspirational district programs. Option is correct because PMDDKY mirrors the data-driven, indicator-based selection and monitoring approach of Niti Aayog's aspirational district programs. A, B, and D statements are these are policy instruments, scheme not district level transformation frameworks. Next question: which one of the following is not a criterion used for selecting district under PMDDKY? First, option A, low crop productivity compared to state average. Option B is moderate or low crop intensity. C is high incidence of farmer suicides. D is limited access to institutional credit and agri infrastructure. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. High incidence of farmer suicides. Option C is correct because farmer suicides are not mentioned as a selection criterion. Option A, B, and D are incorrect because explicitly stated criteria used for identifying aspirational agriculture districts. Next question is which of the following best describes the implementation architecture of PMDDKY? Option A, sector specific schemes implemented independently by line ministry. Market A. Second, option B, market led agriculture reforms driven primarily by private investment. Option C is mission mode convergence of multiple schemes through district level planning. Option D is centralized implementation through national level agencies only. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. Option is C correct because PMDDKY integrates 36 central schemes from 11 departments executed through district agriculture development plans DPS. Option A, B, D are incorrect. Next question is how does PMDDKY primarily aim to enhance farmer income stability? Option A, by guaranteeing high MSPs for all crops, by replacing traditional crops with export-oriented monocultures. Option C is by addressing productivity, diversification, credit and infrastructure gaps simultaneously. Option D is by shifting agricultural labor to non-farm rural employment. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. By addressing productivity, diversification, credit and infrastructure gaps simultaneously. Option C is correct because PMDDKY follows a holistic integrated approach covering productivity, diversification, credit access, sustainability and infrastructure. Next question is with reference to minimum support price system in India consider following estimates. अगर मैंने कहीं गलती से एमएसपी को मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस की जगह मैक्सिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस कर दिया हो उसके लिए आप हमें क्षमा करेंगे. आई रिग्रेट फॉर दिस. लेट अस कंटिन्यू. First option is MSP is a guaranteed procurement price announced by the government to protect farmers from distressed sales. Second option is MSP is legally binding on the government for procurement of all notified crops. MSP currently covers cereals, pulses, oilseeds, and commercial crops. MSP fourth one, MSP serves as an instrument for food security and market price stabilization. Which of the instruments given above are correct? Option B is correct. First, third, and fourth statements are correct. Option 1 is correct because MSP provides price assurance to farmers. Second one is incorrect because MSP is not legally enforceable. Procurement is discretionary. Option 3, statement 3 is correct. MSP covers 23 crops across these categories. Fourth statement is correct. MSP supports food security and price stability. Next question is, which of the following factors influence the recent MSP hike for rabi crops? Option A 1 is cost of cultivation as estimated under A2 plus FL and C2 cost concepts. Second is need to promote oilseed production and crop diversification. Option 3 is global edible oil prices and import dependence. Fourth, mandatory compliance with World Trade Organization WTO price support limits. Which are the correct answer? Answer B is correct. First, second, and third statements are correct. First statement is correct because cost estimates are core to MSP calculation. Second one is also correct because safflower hike reflects diversification goals. Third statement is also correct. Reducing edible oil imports is a key concern. Fourth is incorrect because WTO limits constant trade distorting support but do not mandate MSP hikes. Next MCQ. Consider following statements regarding the role of Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices (CACP). First statement is CACP is a statutory body under the Ministry of Agriculture. Second one, CACP's recommendation on MSP are binding on the Union Government. Third one, CACP recommends MSP separately for Kharif and Rabi crops. Fourth, CACP considers intercrop parity in terms of trade for farmers. Which statements are correct? Option A is correct. 1, 3rd, and 4th. First, third, and fourth statements are correct. First statement is correct because it established in 1955 as a statutory body. Second one is incorrect because recommendations are advisory, not binding. Third one is correct because MSPs are recommended twice a year. Fourth is correct because these are explicit evaluation criteria. Next question is, which of the following statements best explain the significance of higher MSP for safflower? First, it supports India's strategy to reduce dependence on imported edible oils. Second, it signals a shift from cereal scenting procurement policies. Third, it directly guarantees universal procurement of all oilseeds. Fourth is it incentivizes diversification towards climate resilient crops. Correct answer is B. First, second, and fourth statements are correct. First statement is correct because oilseed promotion reduces import bills. Second one is higher MSP reflects the diversification intent. Third is incorrect because procurement of oilseeds remains limited. Fourth is correct because safflower suits dry land conditions. Next question is, despite MSP hikes, certain structural challenges persist in Indian agriculture due to which of the following reasons. First one is procurement remains concentrated in wheat and rice belts. Rising MSPs can increase fiscal pressure on the government. Third, MSP alone cannot address market access and storage inefficiencies. Fourth is MSP discourages technological adoption in agriculture. Which statements are correct? B. First, second, and third statements are correct. Correct answer 1 is correct because statement 1 is correct. Benefits are usually skewed. Second statement is also correct. Higher MSP raise subsidy and procurement cost. Third statement is correct. Market reforms are needed beyond MSP. Fourth statement is incorrect because MSP does not inherently discourage technology. Next question is, with reference to RODTEP, remission of duties and taxes on exported products scheme, consider consider following statements. First is RODTEP was introduced to refund indirect taxes that are already repaid under GST. Second statement, the scheme aims to utilize non-refundable taxes embedded in export products. Third is RODTEP replaced the Merchandise Export Incentive Schemes MEIS due to WTO concerns. Fourth is the scheme is implemented under India's foreign trade policy framework. Which statements are correct? D is correct. Second, third and fourth statements are correct. Statement 1 is correct. Incorrect. RODTEP refunds taxes not refunded earlier, not GST rebated taxes. Second statement is correct because core objective of the scheme. Third statement is correct because MEIS was challenged at WTO and replaced. Statement 4 is correct because introduced via amendment to FTP 2015-20. Next question is, which one the following best explains why the RODTEP scheme is considered WTO compliant? First, option A, it provides export subsidies capped within WTO de minimis limits. Option B, it reimburses exporters based on export and performance incentives. Option C, it refunds only actual unrebated taxes and duties incurred on exports. Option D, it excludes agricultural and labor intensive products from coverage. Which option is correct? Option C is correct. C is correct because WTO allows remission of actual indirect taxes embedded in exports. A, B, D are not correct. Next question is, consider the following regarding the reimbursement mechanism under RODTEP. First statement is, benefits are calculated as percentage of FOB free on board value exports. Second one, refunds are credited directly to exports bank accounts. Third is, benefits are issued at transferable electronic duty credit scripts. Fourth is, these scripts can be used to pay basic customs duty. Which statements are correct? B is correct. First, third and fourth statements are correct. First statement is correct because calculation is FOB based. Second is incorrect because refunds are not cash but e-scripts. Statement 3 is correct because transferable e-scripts issued. Fourth statement is correct, can be used for basic customs duty payment. Which of the following, next question is, which of the following categories of exports are eligible for benefits under the RODTEP scheme? Option A, only manufacturer exporters registered under GST. Option B is manufacturer exporters and merchant exporters excluding ACG special economic zones. Option C is manufacturer exporters, merchant exporters, ACG and EOU export oriented units and e-commerce exporters. Option D is only exporters dealing in goods excluding agricultural products. Which statement is correct? Option C is correct. Manufacturers, exporters, merchant exporters, ACG, EOU export oriented unit and e-commerce exporters. Coverage is broad. Correct. Option C is correct because coverage broad including ACG, EOU, traders and e-commerce exports. Last question, that is 50th. Extension of the RODTEP scheme till March 2026 is likely to have which of the following implications? Option A, it guarantees a fixed export growth rate for India. B, it provides policy certainty and enhances export competitiveness. Option C, it replaces customs duty exemptions for exporters. Option D is it eliminates the need for export related digital compliance. Which statement is correct? B is correct. It provides policy certainty and enhances export competitiveness. Option B is correct because extension offers policy stability, helping exporters plan better and amid global trade uncertainty. A, C and D options are not correct. A is because no scheme can guarantee export growth. C, duty exemption continues separately. D, digital compliance remains integral. सब आज की वीडियो यहीं तक। उम्मीद करता हूँ आप लोगों को पसंद आया होगा। काफ़ी हाई लेवल का क्वेश्चन सब था इसमें। उम्मीद है इससे प्रैक्टिस करोगे। अगर कहीं गलती हुई होगी तो इसके लिए सॉरी, रिग्रेट लग रहा होगा आपको कहीं गलती है, इसके लिए सॉरी, रिग्रेट करता हूँ। कैसे लगे आपको ये वीडियो कमेंट बॉक्स में लिखें और हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल MCQ अड्डा पर को सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें, शेयर करें और बेल बटन प्रेस करें ताकि हमारा वीडियो जैसे अपलोड हो उसे आप तक पहुंच सके। मिलते अगले वीडियो में। कोशिश करूंगा बिल्कुल परफेक्ट, टफ, ट्रिकी, मॉडरेट क्वेश्चंस जो कि IAS, स्टेट सिविल सर्विस और भी जितने कंप्यूटर एग्जामिनेशन उसमें आते हैं उस लेवल के, उस स्टैंडर्ड के MCQ आपको प्रोवाइड कर सके। तो गाइस मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए गुड बाय।